It's another weekend and another chance to be out in the garden. Today we're finishing up cutting back the rest of our perennials to get these flower beds ready for the spring.
That's right. And we have really had actually a whole week of minus 10 degrees. So it has been too cold to go and finish up all the ones in the back. The big flower bed, middle one is finished. So we actually just need this little stretch so there's a light at the end of the tunnel, or whatever you say.
Yeah, light at the end of the tunnel. This is the light.
So we can see the goal. But anyway, so if we go here and talk a little bit about like how far should you prune or like cut it down your perennials that's starting to sprout from underneath. So we just want to show here like a daylily here, where all this of course is dead. You can either just break it apart depending on the stem, but as you can see, all this new green here is the new growth, and we actually go as far down as you can without destroying any of the new growth. So just like that, depending on what kind it is, you can just pull really like gently here around.
I love that you say pull gently and then you just jerk things out of the ground.
Yeah, actually I don't do gent because perennials are really tough, so you can be, yeah.
But that is a good point. We cut down when we start to see the new growth. And we were talking about this right before we started filming. We thought, is there a magical date, like don't cut back until then, or cut back once the moon is in whatever, the third stage of Mercury, or no. And every year is a little bit different for us. We wait until we see new growth coming in. And that happens to be, we started last weekend. Yeah. So it happens to be this couple of weeks. And right here, we don't have so many new spring bulbs coming, but I'll show you in one of the other flower beds, a lot of our bulbs are coming. We had a really warm January, so the spring bulbs are coming in, new growth is coming in. So can you wait until March? Yeah, but we're gonna run the risk of stepping on all of the new growth, all of the bulbs, and it's just easier to do it now, right before everything really starts to pop through.
And another thing is when you start so early on, you can really see here's like a dandelion, really start all these, like we talked about before also, but getting all the weeds head on really early, then it doesn't have a long root system. These tap roots on the dandelion, it's really great getting them now, and then you can easily see them too. So we definitely want to cut all this down now. That fits our schedule because we're going to be super busy March, April, sowing more things, and so now is the time we have. It's the best time for us to.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot, especially on the Instagram. That it's in Danish, but if you don't follow on Instagram, you're more than welcome to. You can learn some Danish. But yeah, a lot of people they get kind of because it's so personal. Gardening is really, it's your garden, it's your space. You have to do it when it fits you. And a lot of people say, oh, but what about the critters and the creatures? And you know what? This is when we have the time. So it has to work for you. Otherwise, it's not going to be any fun. And if gardening isn't fun, what do? Then we stop gardening. Exactly. You don't even know what to do if you have to stop.
Okay. And I promise you, in our garden, there's still a bunch of space for living areas for the critters or the small insect. Because imagine all these. There's not a lot of insects sitting in these like dead fountain grass up here. They seek more under the ground, and as you can see here, maybe some would ask, what about all the leaves? The leaves actually function as nutrition. And there's a bunch of animals living in those. So we actually leave them. We will also show you a little bit up here how much actually is just staying as as mulch and ground cover. And it might not look pretty, but then once the perennials grow up, they suck all that nutrition down to the roots, and so we actually leave that. But a little bit of a minus of that, we actually found a few, but there's a bunch of slugs living under that. So it's pros and cons for having the mulch actually in the garden, depending on how many slugs you have.
Yeah, 100%. Let me actually take you up there and show you where you can really see how the leaves look once the flower bed's finished. And you finish up here, Lars?
Okay.
Thanks. So here's a great example of what we're talking about. This part of the flower bed is finished. And you can see how we've just left the leaves here. These are from our tree, but there's also mixed in with some of the perennials that have just dropped their leaves. And a lot of people have asked us, do we mulch? And the answer is no, we don't specifically add any mulch to our flower beds, but what we do is we leave the leaves that have fallen.
Actually, I would like to get you back here. I actually have a few things I want to show you here.
I was getting a nice long shot of the garden with your hips up in the air. So.
Oh, my great posture. No, actually I just want to show, because we have the most plants we have in our garden are of course perennials, because we love those. But we have a few summer flowers, like here the Salvia viridis, that is an annual, so it's like a summer flower. But here the seed pods, it's really great at self-sowing. You have to be careful. I collected some seeds, but in here, maybe I'll just take one here and show you. So in here sits the, oh great, I just dropped. Here it is. So in here is actually still some seeds sitting. They are really not easily to get out, but I collected some. I want to let it self-sow as well, so I have to be careful when I cut that back. But in here sits like, oh, you can barely see them, but in here there's some black seeds. There's only sitting 4 seeds in each capsule here, so I'm just gonna let it self-sow around here. Be a little bit careful when I do some weeding here, but it's on the edge. Definitely gonna sow some more, either pre-sow in the greenhouse, but also it really works well in May when it's the temperatures outside are warmer. Let it self-sow and it flowers for. So if you don't have Salvia viridis, like Pink Sunday is the one we have. You can get it also in Oxford Blue and White Swan. Really, I can recommend this one. Lasts flowers until July, all the way until the frost. Also edible, the foliage here, because it's actually not the flower that has, it's actually the leaves that
the bracts.
The bracts, yes.
It sounds like this video was sponsored by Salvia viridis.
Right.
Thanks to our sponsors.
That took a sharp turn, but that's really a great one. So do be careful when you work in the garden. I have these different kind of glasses on, even though I don't have real glasses. I have these glasses on where I look at what do I need to cut back. Is there any baby perennials? So I always keep an eye out on self-sown digitalis. I can show you one actually up here. Let me show you. I know if Alan can follow me back here.
And you see why it takes us 2 weeks to cut back things in the garden.
Because
these imaginary glasses that he's wearing.
But see here, look over here, this is a digitalis that's self-sown. That's really coming here, and that's not a great spot for it, because it'll be around like, 1 meter 20 up here and right in front of the butterfly bush here. So that has to be moved. So even when it's not, if there's no hard frost in your area, you can move perennials and baby perennials all year, like in all the season, as long as it's not very hard frost in the ground. You can move them. They're very hardy. So while it's small like this, because this one is self-sowing last year, so it already has its green foliage, so it will go ahead and create this long flower. So I have to definitely move that further back into the garden. So I always keep an eye out for that one.
Great, that was great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you were over there cutting back perennials.
Oh, yes.
And I'll grab my shears. They're over there. Those are mine.
Okay.
And I'll help you finish up here.
Oops. So I actually jumped to the middle flower bed, because not only I look for like baby perennials or weeds, I look for something like a third thing is actually I can start doing cuttings now when there's not really hard frost. Here I have a lupine here.
Hold on, let me come down.
Oh, okay.
Hold on with me, everybody.
So you can see it's starting to come. Some of them got a little bit affected by we had the really hard frost, but you can start doing all these shoots here. And I actually just go down, see if I can a little bit up here and get some of this green shoot up here. There we go. And you don't have to have a root or anything on. It's actually just this little knob here, almost like a little bump here. But this has a lot of energy and will really likely to start rooting here. So what I do, I put it on the edge, on the inside of a pot, either 9 centimeters, quite deep is fine. You can put a few cuttings around. I keep it watered a little bit, and then I add it in the greenhouse. And then within actually 4 to 8 weeks, I almost want to bet, it has started to root. And compared to different from when you sow lupines from these tiny seeds, you never know, because they cross-pollinate the flowers, so you never know the color. But when you do a cutting, this one is a white one. This is definitely going to be like the mother plant, also white. So this one goes in the pot.
Exactly. And we actually made a whole video of you taking these cuttings and potting them, so we'll be sure to link that.
Look at you
I
doing commercial for all the different videos. But
sponsored by last year's video.
But definitely it's a great way to get free new plants. It doesn't take you much. You can even take garden or like soil out from your garden, a few pots, And there you go, then you have free lupins.
And speaking of these free lupins, maybe you do get back to cutting down, Lars. We're never going to get out of here.
But look how much we finished already. We actually need this little corner.
100%.
Okay.
But speaking of free plants and cuttings and things, this whole flower bed was created from free plants and cuttings, as was, I'll spin us around slowly, this flower bed. Ta-da! We didn't spend a dime. That's not true. This 9 bark we paid for, and this rhododendron was a gift. So we did spend that dime and got the other one for free.
But then again, sowing and doing cuttings, all you need is actually being patient, because things take time from cutting to it has a full flower. But it's a great way to get, and seeds, like one plant produces thousands, just the digitalis, 10,000 new seeds actually. I just read up on that.
10,000, really?
Yeah, I just, because I'm doing a course to become like an educated gardener these days, so we are really nerding down and seeing how many is in a seed pod. So actually digitalis has around 10,000 seed pods, so that's just crazy. Look, you can do a whole field just of digitalis.
Wow, well thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what we thought we would do today, now that we've kept you here for 45 minutes, is we would finish up cutting back everything, and then maybe walk around the garden super quick, and then take you to, you can keep working, Lars.
Okay.
And then, I'm not actually this boss.
I just wanted to listen to you.
I'm the director. And then we will take you guys to the cemetery garden where Lars works. They're working on some new flower beds and things like that. Basically just sort of show you what's going on in that part of our lives.
Actually, before they go, can you just go down here? Just to show them again, if you're in doubt on how far to go. Like here's the Sporbalgerne Valerian. Here you actually also, you can see very clearly here all this green, the green,
yes,
the sprouts.
Green. We see
oh my goodness. The green sprouts from underneath, that's the new growth for this year. So all the old, just go as far down as you can. And if, something just breaks off, add it in a pot and it will sprout, because it's doing so well, all this. And you can remove some of the foliage so it focuses.
That wasn't a oops, we literally heard you rip it out of the
but
earth.
you could.
But
if you do, then that's a great way to get more of that one.
Fantastic. Okay, back to work, guys.
Okay. So we actually also kept a bag full of, you might wonder why a bag of leaves, but up here under this tree, it's really dry, not a lot of things grow here. So what we have ferns that's doing really well. And so we lay every year just like extra leaves here to give it more nutrition around, and so it doesn't dry out so easily. And we also have the neighbor's cat loves to come here and dig and use this as a toilet, which is not really nice. So we always put a layer on, so we kind of course that gives nutrition too, but it's really great for the tree here, but also the ferns that they just actually, I think I'm just gonna do like this.
Yeah, and these leaves are ones that we collected once the wisteria lost its leaves, and then as this tree has been dropping, we've just been raking them up from the under the pergola back there.
Sorry, I'm making noise.
And we've kept them in a bag.
Okay.
And this is what we do with those. So mulching keeps the cats away a little bit until they figure it out.
Yeah, there we go.
Also, now that things are cut back, you can really see some of these pines that we've cut around this rhododendron. We had it left over from some of the Christmas decorations, so we've put them around the rhododendron, some up in the hydrangea. As these pines break down, they'll bring some acidity to the soil, which these type of plants really enjoy. Now, back to Lars.
So actually we have planted late autumn. We planted these ones, we always put tulips in. And then last year we added a bunch more in each one, and they are really doing well. We put them in these plastic black ones because they are super easy and always drainage holes in the bottom. We added them just under the roof here, and now it's time here, almost end of February, we will place them close to the terrace so we can really look at them. Last year we had some...
Yeah, we dug those up. So
Yeah.
the ones that were in here we dug up and have now planted out in the garden. So this is actually a new mix, and there's around, 45 in each one?
I think so, and these are like doubled tulips. The ones we had last year were like a Darwin and Van Eyck, so really strong varieties that will come back every year, because some of these varieties might not come back and then you have to dig them up every year. So we will see how these ones are doing, but it's great to reuse. Even like in front of the house we have like flower boxes, and there we went out in the supermarket and bought some perlehyacinta and some also narcisse here for the spring. And what we did when they finished flowering, we dug them up and kept them in our shed. And then I just in autumn placed them in a pot and see how they grow now.
Exactly. Look at the roots at the
and
bottom.
Even under, these ones were actually just sitting on the narcisse on top here. So they had actually grown out and then down. And there was actually a tulip going all the way up to that one. So these ones, that's a great way to like reuse your spring flowers, the bulbs.
Yeah, in Danish, by the way, they're called onions.
Yes,
so
forsløg.
Yeah, so spring onions is what any sort of a spring bulb is called. So
confusing.
I just thought I'd explain it. Otherwise, people get really confused why you call them onions.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same word. Imagine living here, guys, and trying to learn Danish.
Yeah.
Oh, you never know if you're ordering tulips on your hamburger.
You are like
or if
scaring
you're ordering
all the people, all the foreigners away that want to come to this beautiful little country.
It is a beautiful country, that's true. And it's in the news a lot. Wow.
Right? But a great way to like save money again on like keeping those bulbs here for the next year. Let's just keep them, dry them when they finish flowering, and then just add them in a pot, super easy, store them somewhere, and then plant them out again. So we're gonna do that. These are gonna go here in when it's 1st of March, because the neighbors will be like, oh, it's not spring yet. And we're like, 1st of March, we will take out the pine we have in the flower box in the front of the house and then add, and also violas and stuff like that.
We have great neighbors, but you can almost guarantee that he's going to come out and say, it's not spring, it's too early. Oh, you wait. He's done it every year. Yeah. We love it.
But these ones we're going to put right next to the terrace here, so then they start to get more also water, but also more sunlight. And if you come closer, you can see the ones we planted here, because there's some that side shoot from these are the ones that like a side bulb here that created from the ones from last year, but the ones we placed are much thicker stem here, so that's actually coming here. You can see it here.
Yeah, I don't think I dug up all of the bulbs.
So this one, that's actually your job.
There were so many.
So this one actually, some of these long ones grew up.
I don't get paid for this.
But anyway, we're going to see how it looks. They might get much taller because the variety here are much smaller. Otherwise, we'll plant them out somewhere else.
Yeah, that's great. Shall we move them?
Let's do it.
And then let's go to your work and show what's going on.
Yeah.
We keep saying we're leaving, and yet
now
we've not left. For real. To the bikes.
So we arrived at my work. It's only like 4 minutes on bike from our home, so super close. We just want to show you one of the newest and biggest projects this year. It's actually going to be a perennial flower bed full of, I hope you can imagine, there's going to be benches here and around a tree, and then there's going to be like a path here all the way around, really curvy, a bunch of fountain grass and perennials in larger groups, but all the way through, and the same perennials will repeat in the flower bed, of course. And it's around 70 square meters, all this flower bed, and it's one of my areas where I take care of, and it was really a bit abandoned, so I'm really happy and pleased we're gonna do that now, because there was a lot of nettles and just overgrown. It was really hard to, some invasive ones with really a lot of bindweed and all the root system, so we had to really remove a lot of the soil. We're going to add new soil, and also once the plants come home, we're going to show you all about the whole process, how we lay the stones, and you can see the whole process, and also later on when we plant, and how it's going to look later on in the season. So stay tuned to see how we're going to do that.
But we're really excited, and this cemetery is
1881.
1881. I knew it was 1800. So it's very old. It's outside of the walls. As we've mentioned many times, Fredericia is surrounded by an earthen wall, rampart, so it's a very historical city. But here in Denmark, as you can see, first of all, they cut down perennials. When do you guys start cutting? Already in January, right?
We do in January, yeah.
Because, if I may say the reason, is because this is a place of respect, and you can't have things looking super raggedy, you know. like that. So they cut down really early, but the cemeteries here are all done as public spaces, parks. So this bench, you could easily come here and have your lunch. You could bring a what do you call it, like a little scooter, little skateboard, and
People
practice.
run here, and
Yeah.
it's really a place for, just relaxing and it's really
and
nice.
celebrating life, and of course remembering those who have passed.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. So super excited about
And
this.
it's a big place. It's like around 42,000 square meters, so much bigger than our garden, who's only 260. So around 10 acres. So we're 5 people maintaining this area here. So it's really a lot to do, but also super exciting. And we also try to going back to this flower bed, we try to save plants we had in the corner, like a lot of rhododendrons, so we moved those back up. We try to save as much as the plants as we can. So behind the bicycles up there was an area also with overgrown, weedy area. So that kind of area also looks much better now. So because we try to have, like, if there's an area just with the ground, it will just be covered in weeds, and it's really hard to maintain. So it's much better covering with perennials these empty areas. And it's also a place where a lot of family members, people come with kids, and it just looks not really nice when it's overgrown and shows soil. So it's much better planting perennials that people can enjoy, but also the insects and other animals can enjoy.
By the way,
Behind the scenes. This is what we never show though, and I have electrical bike.
So Lars drives an electrical bike, exactly. That's why he's always quick. I have a supermarket bike. Got it at the supermarket. Where do we buy this?
We got it at a supermarket. Super cheap.
Like hardware store.
Actually, that's like Biltema, so it's like
like a auto supply store.
Yeah. And mine, in my defense, I had to bike when we had to get our son Malazi further to a school when he was much smaller. And I worked in a kindergarten once. I was a kindergarten teacher way back before I was a gardener.
Yeah,
so
we're hearing lots of excuses, Lars, for you riding a
and
fake
notice
bike.
I always have a helmet. I know it looks, but I rather want to be safe.
Oh, I've got my helmet here too, and my gloves.
Yeah.
And what else do I have here? So many random things. Why am I showing this? Let's go see some more flower beds.
Let's do that. So these flower beds were actually created last early spring, where we just took out the turf here and added a bit new soil. And
wait, early spring last year you planted these?
Yes, in
or started
2024.
these. Yeah.
Yes. So we dug out, and then we got plants. We got fully, mature plants home compared to what I do at home. We don't do cuttings and small seeds. Sadly, we don't have the time nor the space to do that, which could be really great. But all these ones eventually we'll also try and what we do here, we also try to save money on dividing. We have fountain grass that I didn't buy for the flower bed up there. We try and divide that later on in spring and then place up here, just to save some money as well. But these ones are really like also placed like more curvy forms, more a bit freely, and we're also gonna add like a bench here, and we have some really tall grasses coming. But here it's also a mix of different perennials, but in mind that we have something flowery early on, really early spring to late autumn also, and then the big showstopper is of course the fountain grass in the end that stands with just snow on the tops as well. And again we repeat, like we have sections of maybe dark foliage one or of echinacea, then it repeated throughout these flower beds, so it gives a kind of calmness, and that repetition is really great when you have a flower bed. And also some great ground cover, and we make some space because eventually it's going to really close up. We have some that really cover the ground, as I said, and that's just going to really emerge. The whole flower bed is just going to work really nicely. And we don't have a color scheme in that way that it's only white and yellow. We have all colors here, like we have at home.
Well, if I may say, there is a color scheme here. There are a lot. What were there last year? A lot of purples, whites, some yellows. So it's not as random. And each of these flower beds, you guys plant the same things. So, for example, there's purple here, purple there. So in that way, you come and you have a sense of calm. Yeah. I think that's something to really remember. Is this still is a place? Yeah, it's fun. That's not the right word, but yeah, it can be wild.
Place for respect and
yeah, there's still a place. It has to have that sort of respect, and one way to get that calmness is by the way you guys plant here
Yeah.
in groups of colors. So there is a color scheme.
But I'm still saying, maybe compared to other flower beds we have that was created before I came here, it gives a different atmosphere, I would say. Up here further we have like
Huge
each
blocks of
group
color.
of each, like for example like echinacea, then it's a huge area of the same plant, and that gives a different feeling compared to here. There's on a smaller area there's more perennials than further up there where it's really big chunks of bigger
100%.
plants.
But they are repeated in each bed.
That's
and then
true.
those colors,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Mirror themselves. So
Yeah.
you do see it in every bed.
Yeah.
So in that way, I just didn't want to confuse
That's
y'all at home.
And compared to at home, we have a few spring bulbs coming, like Easter lilies and things like that. But tulips is almost like a no-go here because we are close to the ramparts and nature. We have wild rabbits, we have deer in here, and they really love to chew on those sprouts. So
Exactly. So right
yeah.
back there behind the trees, actually, that's where the moat is, and that's where the ramparts start, and that's where the deers are,
Yeah.
and the hares, and the things that will snack.
But once this is going to be the second season, and then it's going to be even more established. So it's fun to see how it's going to flower this year compared to last year.
And you know, a question that somebody's asked us quite a lot here in our comments is, especially in the video, because you posted a video about this flower bed last year, and their question was, okay, so this year do you have to cut them, not cut them back, but are you going to sort of divide them out? How do you thin them out every year?
Yeah. Depending on how close we do it, because we do also, like at home, we have a bit more space here, but the closer you plant, normally at home we do like a hand spacing in between, and that makes that you have to normally divide every year, every 2 years. So here we kind of have a bit more space, but depending on what kind perennial it is, depends on, like for example, this creeping thyme here really grows, and we have like lawn here, of course, so this will grow out. So we do need to divide that. Here in early spring, we will kind of take it more back, and then it will come back to the same size throughout, or like during the season. And this one we don't just toss, then we can plant it in some empty spots. But if you plant really close, it's just to sum it up, super close, then you need to divide, I would say every year or every 2 years, divide
Exactly.
them.
And the plant will tell you whether it starts to split in the middle and things like this. So your perennial will let you know sort of what it needs. So thanks so much for spending a day with us here in the garden, both at home and here where Lars works. So let us know in the comments what you're doing now in your gardens. As we always say, we really do enjoy reading and hearing about your part of the world.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Okay, moin.